So February 1998, we're getting into snowcore dates, which
Oh
is
shit, you're digging
yeah.
deep here.
This is allegedly at kind of a dark time in the band that we really don't know too much about. But my question is, do you happen to recall when the first time Travis filled in for the band was? This is something we do not know to this day.
Well, I do remember I got Blink to play with Madness. I think it was Madness in Santa Barbara. Because I was like, like I said, I was a big Mod Ska fan, and Madness is one of my favorite bands. I was able to land some Madness dates, and we played with them in Santa Barbara at the Santa Barbara Bowl. And I believe it was the Aquabats opened for us. And prior to that, we had a situation go down with Scott where Mark and Tom were not stoked, and that's what led to the direction of where it went. I just remember Tom going, "Hey, can you go talk to Travis?" I just remember that. And this was like not the Travis, a much younger, innocent,
Yeah.
not the total polar opposite of what I saw yesterday on Good Morning America with Travis and the Kardashian girl. He was just a kid that loved to play drums, and he was, and I remember we did a lot of dates with Aquabats, and I remember they weren't too happy with me. I was just the messenger. But and then I remember Paul Gomez, my buddy who I mentioned earlier, he spoke to Travis. He knew him somehow. The very first show we played with Travis, I'd have to ask Tom that.
We
I
have
don't recall it actually. Man, I kind of got rid of all of those tour books last year when I cleaned my attic out. It was filled with routings and stuff, and I took them to the shredders. I don't recall the first show with Travis, but it had to have been in spring time.
So we know, just to kind of go over the timeline of what we do know is Scott was still on drums May 31st of 1998. They had a show on June 1st, which we assume Scott was on drums. And then there's a 2-week break. OK, so whatever happened in that 2 weeks, we don't know. But on June 15th onward, 1998, Travis is on drums and Scott is never seen again. What, if anything, can you share about that situation? It's such a mystery and we just don't know. But ultimately, what do you recall about that transition?
I'm texting Tom right now to ask him. Hopefully he'll give me an answer here. Yeah, so look, any kind of thing like that, it's sad.
Totally.
For Travis, he was rad. Obviously, it went on to some giant things for Travis. But, I had already logged in a couple of years, if not 3 at that point, with Scott. And Scott was a young kid. I think when I first started working with him, he was 16 or 17 years old, So I was in my late 20s, 28. And Tom is 6 years younger than me. And, Scott was younger than Tom when I met him. So I was really sad, I don't know. It was, it just wasn't, anyone would not think that was a fun time.
Right.
Having all of a sudden where I was like managing him, now I have to look at him as like, hey, on behalf of Mark and Tom, it just,
yeah,
there are some really bummer parts about being a manager sometimes.
Yeah.
I just had to go through it with the Bomb Pops. Polly Van Dam left the Bomb Pops and she started the band with Jen Rasby, and I had to broker that all out. Like, it wasn't fun, different band members come and gone through Angels and Airwaves, and those are the bummer. Those are kind of like not the rad times that I like to remember. So I don't remember a lot because I probably selectively chose not to remember it. But all I do remember is once we put Travis in this position, we noticed something that we didn't have prior. We noticed a sense of energy. We noticed a sense of musicianship that was, just super different. And Tom and Mark were just like blown away at Travis's ability to play. So he got in, at a pretty good time.